second, I had three choices in front of me. Any would clear my path to safety, and all would have rippling consequences. My hands were shaking and my arms could barely grip the rope, but with the last of my strength, I climbed out of the well and headed back to the castle. Ever since the magic mirror returned, its reflections have warned the kingdom of danger, kept our family safe, and it has exposed many troublesome crumbs tangled in my beard.
Yeah. King Edward was so proud that you returned his lost treasure that he made you king. Everyone knows that part. Now, can we get back to that dragon?
Gwendolyn, there is so much more to my stories than dragons. I hope this old cap will be remembered for far more than the action tattered across its brim, sewn into the seams of many hidden adventures. All right, let's get back to the dragon.
Tell me everything. Like, why did you set the dragon free even though he was trying to eat you?
I set him free because, well, over the years I realized that the dragon was not the despicable, hideous beast Daventry had made him out to be. He was just a caged animal that was never shown any kindness. On that day, I forgave the dragon for his atrocious past.
You have such a bizarre way of making friends, Grandpa. I guess I do too. I'm known as Gwendolyn the Popular back home, but only to my stuffed bunnies.
I've always found it best to pursue friends where I can, though they don't always feel the same about me.
All right, you two. Grandpa needs to rest. Gwendolyn, it's way past your bedtime.
Sleep well, Grandpa. I'll be back first thing in the morning.
I don't need rest. I'm as spry as I've ever been, though I wouldn't mind a slice of magic fruit.
Well, hello, cousin.
Guard!
I'm glad you're finally here. He's been asking about you for days. I had to sit through the same story 5 times.
We got here as fast as we could, and I like Grandpa's stories, especially the ones with dragons.
Ah, yes, the legendary beast that he set free. I don't know if he forgets I've heard that story before or he doesn't care, but he loves telling it to anyone that will listen. I'm pretty sure I heard the nursemaids telling his same jokes in the hall.
Have you heard anything the doctors are saying?
Yes, doctors, wizards, magic elves. Grandfather is fine, Gwendolyn. They all say the same thing. He's just old. He still has a few good years left. Look, we're all excited that your family made the trip, but there's no need to worry. You should get some rest. I'm sure you're scheduled for a full morning of Grandfather's hilarious ramblings.
Oh, I'm also scheduled for the tournament tomorrow.
Ah, yes, the fencing tournament. You'll love it. I'm, of course, favored to win and will make sure you have the very best seat to view my victory. The courtyard will be filled with important people and delicious hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, I'm actually competing in the tournament.
I had no idea we were hosting a junior tournament. That's incredible. In that case, I will gladly be there to cheer you on and eat delectable appetizers.
Nope, no junior tournament. I'll be squaring off against you.
I see. Well, perhaps this is the time to stop listening to stories and finally make some of your own. Good night, Gwendolyn. Sleep well.
Come in, Gwendolyn. You can set those on the nightstand.
Grandma said to take 3 spoonfuls of each.
I'll get to those. No need to fuss over me. Now let's talk about far more important issues, like that fencing tournament. I hear you're competing.
Well, I signed up, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Nonsense. If it's Scott you're worried about, he's no bother. After all, I only learned that you entered after he complained about it all morning. Threatened, I'm guessing. There are many ways to win a duel. I, for one, have always been fond of... thinking of the problem in a different way, and finding a clever distraction to create a moment of victory. Speaking of, that reminds me of a story, one I know you haven't heard before. When I was a much younger lad, before I was a knight, before I'd been to Daventry, and even before I had seen a dragon. It's a tale about a tournament that changed my life. It is a long story, but I shall tell it briefly.
Well, Triumph, this looks as good a place as any to camp for the night. Let's rest up. We have a big day tomorrow.
After gracefully rappelling down the cliff, I welcomed the sight of an actual road, the first sign of civilization. Daventry was just a few miles to the east. I'd read all about its wonders in my travel books. I couldn't wait to check out its famous, fantastical floating island. Daventry was just a few miles to the east. I'd read all about its wonders in my travel books. I couldn't wait to check out its famous, fantastical floating island.
Grandpa, you can't leave Triumph.
Don't worry, Triumph can fend for himself. We've been through our share of sticky situations, but he always comes around when I need him most. After all that graceful rappelling, I was certainly not headed back that way. I could have sworn the parade of hopeful knights was scheduled for the next day. I should have been with them, marching with triumph. It seemed my first few minutes in Daventry were off to a terrible start.
So, how did you catch up with them?
That odd horn seemed to be missing some sort of mouthpiece. Strange tracks blazed a trail through the forest. I wondered what those birds needed a toolbox for. Shame. The only tool left seemed to be a small hatchet. And no, Gwendolyn, before you start asking me thousands of questions about that hatchet, I did not go around using it on everything. There was no reason to chop down that perfectly good tree. That wheel seemed freshly broken.
Stand back, you dirty thieves! Wah! Oh, it's just a boy. Don't know where he's from, but it must be hard to pronounce. You know, you should never sneak up on a guy in a dangerous place like... Oh! What's wrong with your foot? Probably stepped on a spiniferous thornweed. Don't worry, I got just the fix for that. Tell me, is it more of a... Ow! Or a... Oh! Either way, the Merchant of Miracles has got you covered. But it'll cost you. I've risked my neck to forage the most rare, miraculous, mysterious, and oftentimes delicious ingredients. Ah, here it is. I massage this into my skin twice a day, and just look at my little biscuits.